welcome to a new series that I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be teaching you guys how to make VRChat avatars from the ground up. Also in advance, I do apologize, my mic is very sensitive, so it will pick up my breathing sometimes, especially when I am talking and I'm winded. So firstly, let's start off with making sure you have the right Blender and the right foundation to get started. So first, I recommend starting with Blender 4.3. I recently did an upgrade myself from 2.8 Blender to 4.3 Blender. There is not an exact version of Blender that you have to have in order to create avatars, but this is my suggestion. I will be using 4.3 Blender, and I will link the download for that below in the description. Now, this version of Blender does have an unofficial cats plugin, which is useful with making avatars. So, I'm also going to link that down below as well for you guys. I'm sure you guys know how to follow instructions. So to install Blender, it's very easy. You download it from the link below. You make sure you double click on it whenever it is downloaded in your whatever file. Usually it will be in your downloads folder in your file explorer. Launch it, install it, do what you got to do with that. I'm not going to run you through that because it's how you install literally anything on your computer. Let's say we got Blender 4.3. Let's open it up. You're going to be starting with a new project. So what you're going to click is you're going to click General, right? This is what you're going to see when you open up a General. That's what you're always going to use as well. Now let's start with the basics as far as moving around so that you know how to move around, look around in Blender and all that. Your middle scroll wheel on your mouse is going to be your best friend in Blender. Click it to rotate. Don't mind my sensitivity is very wild. But yes, you click your middle mouse wheel to rotate like this. Now if you want to zoom in, you scroll your middle mouse wheel and you can zoom. If you wish to make these kinds of movements or move around like this, all you gotta do is click shift and your middle mouse wheel and drag your mouse and you'll be good. That's pretty much all you really need to know as far as movements right now. We might learn some other things further down in the video. So to get started, you guys are just gonna delete this, right? Just delete all of these. You don't need any of that. You can either individually select it or you can left click and drag like I did to select all of them over here. And then just right click and hit delete. Now for the cats plugin, you're going to go to this edit tab right here, drop down to your preferences, and on the side right here you are going to have all of these, which you're going to click on add-ons. Once you have your add-ons, you're going to go to this little arrow right here, click it, install from disk. Once you click install from disk, you're going to have this big thing show up. At this point, you should have already downloaded the file that I have linked below. There's no reason to unpack it or anything like that. Mine always goes to my downloads, so I'm going to go to my download section right here. I'll go to my search and just type in cats. You will see it right here. You're just going to double click it, install from disk if it doesn't already do it for you manually, and then you'll have it show up here. It may or may not be already checked. If it is not checked, make sure you do check it. Make sure that it has that check mark right there. You can exit out of this. Now it may or it may not automatically pop up over here. If it doesn't pop up over here, try closing out your Blender, open it back up, do the things we just did, and then it should be installed. If it is not, then redo it. Save your project, close it, and then reopen it, and it should be there. Now we can start with importing, right? The only thing I did was open up my project that has the censoring blocks so that YouTube doesn't scream at me when I import the body base, so don't mind that. So I'm gonna go to import. Over here, you're gonna have a bunch of files. Always go to your downloads or wherever you keep your stuff. I don't like starting with flat foot bases. I always do healed. So this is what we're going to start with. This is the e-girl base. This is personally one of my favorite bases. For now, we are going to turn the clothes off so that we can start with a fresh base. I am going to delete these. So I am clicking shift and right clicking on the ones I want to delete, or left clicking on the ones I want to delete, and then I'm going to right click and hit select or delete. Hello. So this is what we're working with. I'm going to turn off the armature. Now this is what your project should look like minus the sensor cubes. Which, yes, I know that's not how you spell sensor. Leave me alone. I will teach you guys sculpting as far as body bases, head bases, and stuff in a different video. For now, we're just going to keep it to the basics and leave it alone. Now we're going to move on to importing the head. I am going to be using Yumiko. So I'm going to just click on the average base head that doesn't have the weird neck thing going on. So with this, obviously you're gonna have to resize it, move it around, see what you like and stuff. So let me introduce you to some of the tools. Over here you have 4 sets of tools. You have more, but these are the 4 sets, or this is the 4 main sets. This one I do not use because this is all the tools put into one. It's just too much for me. This one, you can move it around, you can do whatever. You can either move it on an axis, or if you grab in between the axes, you can move it freely, right? I'm just Control Z to undo my movements. That's what that one's for. This is a rotation tool. You can either rotate it on an axis, or you can rotate it outside of an axis. And then this is the scale tool. You can scale it up, down, however you want. You can even scale it like to be super narrow like this, or like this. You can just fuck it all up, and that's totally fine. Anytime you are moving something that already has a armature attached to it, make sure you are clicked onto the armature when you are moving it around, rescaling it and stuff like that, just so you don't mess up weight painting or positioning or anything like that. It's always better to be safe than sorry. I'm gonna go ahead and scale this head down because to me it's a little too big for my liking, and I'm just gonna move it down just a small tad bit. Alright? Cool. So this is what your base is gonna look like, right? With no edits to the textures or anything like that. Let's start with the body base. To do anything with textures, you always are gonna need to come down here, click right here, and this is gonna be all the materials for the selected mesh that you have. So this is the body. You don't have to rename them, but I do because it just helps me stay organized. So this is the body texture. Let's say you would like a darker starting texture, or you want to add a tattoo to it, whatever. A lot of people do choose to use this MMD texture right here. All it is you just click it, you add it. Although it does make your stuff really shiny, you just come back up here and like mess with the spectacular. But I'm not going to show you that way because I don't think it will give you the best results. Do materials really matter? Not really in Blender, but it just helps you see what you're working with a little bit more. So this is how I set up textures. So for something like this where there's really no need to have any kind of alpha or cutout or transparency map on it, all I'm going to do is I'm going to come right here where it says base color. And if you can't read it, you can always grab this right here and stretch it out if you need to. I'm going to click on the bar itself. I'm going to find where it says image texture. Click on that. And then over here, I'm going to select on this folder right next to the X to open up the folder. Now, sometimes it will have the folder that all the textures are in already as the map. Sometimes it won't, and you might have to go hunting for them. Either way, it's not a huge deal. Let's just start with the middle ground. Get a nice, like, sun-kissed skin. And now, there you go. It's pretty easy. Now, for the face, we're going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to rename these. There we go. Now, I'm going to click on the head texture. So, ones with multiple textures, you have to make sure you select the mesh that you're trying to customize, and then you also make sure you are on the correct texture you're trying to customize. So let's make the head match the body. Let's go to image, same process as before. Boom, change it. Now lashes is where it's going to get a little bit more complicated. So this is what I'm going to do to start it off. I'm going to come down here. I'm going to make this right here where it says settings is under surface. I'm going to take where it says bump only to displacement and bump. And then I'm going to take it to D-third, and then I'm going to take it back to blended. Yes, it's necessary. It will help it out in the long run to like fix whatever's going on. So now, to fix the lashes, make sure you're still selected on the lashes tab or on the lashes material. And up here at the top, there's a shading tab. Just click on your shading tab and scroll down. Well, so the way you're going to move in here is going to be the same way you move in Blender. So shift, click your middle mouse, and drag. And then you can zoom in and out as well. So what I'm going to start with is this base color right here. This is the base color. I'm going to click this little folder to open it up and make sure that it is this base color. Yes, I know it's invisible right now, but as long as it's this base color or whatever base color it's meant to be, you'll be fine. So now, let's work on the alpha to get the lashes and the brows looking good, right? So right now you can see that the alpha is connected to the alpha. Nope, drag it, drop it. We don't need that. The normal is also attached. Don't need that either. We don't even need the normal itself. So you can click on it, left click or right click. I'm dyslexic with that, so whatever, just delete it. Now, I'm gonna take this and move it up. The color is what we need to attach to the alpha. Don't mind how it looks. I know it looks crazy, and just trust the process, alright? So, now we're going to click on the folder here, and we're going to click one of these, because these are the alpha maps. I will click on that, and as you can tell, that has brought in the lashes. The eyes has a weird, the same like alpha thing that's going on right here. I'm pretty sure the head texture does have it too. You don't need that. You can, it's not going to hurt nothing. Take it off. It doesn't need to be invisible. Same thing here. Grab it, get rid of it. Grab it, get rid of it. Boom. You're good. You're solid. Everything's fine. Now me personally, I'm going to change the eye texture. Your main meshes are going to be your head mesh and your body mesh. So, right here, you want the head to be the lighter color. Like that. You might have to click around a little bit, see a little weird, get a feel for it. I always shift click whenever I'm doing this. I will click my dominant one and then I'll click the one I want to merge it to. And then, boom. Control J to merge it. Now, let's connect our head and our body base together. The only reason I'm saying that is so I can connect these armatures. So, I'm going to cut off the head and show you something real quick. Right here, this is the body's armature. Over here in this little tab right here, it'll tell you more information. You're going to click on the armature up here on object mode. Go down to edit mode, or you can do a shortcut and click tab while you have the body armature selected. Select the specific bone, and right here it'll tell you what bone it is. It's a head bone. We already have a head bone on this other one, so we don't need two. So what I do is I delete the one off of the head, or off of the body base. I delete it. I hit my delete button on my keyboard and I click bones. That will leave you with the basic armature. Now we can get out of edit mode. I'm going to click tab and use my shortcut now that we know how to go in there. And now I am going to turn this off and turn this on. So these bones are the eye bones, leave those alone. And this is the head bone. This is going to be kind of the same rule as whenever we are merging hairs onto the head later on. So for this, the head, out of these two are both dominant meshes, or need to be dominant meshes. But in this specific scenario, it's not about the dominant meshes, it's about the dominant armatures. The dominant armature on this is going to be the body armature, right here. What we are going to do is we are going to click on the body, and we're going to control click on the head. But you see how that is the light color? We don't want that to be the light color. We want the body to be the light color. So just go back holding control still and click on body to make it the dominant mesh. We're going to come over to this little gray area or in this big screen. Control J. Now we're going to merge the armatures. I'm going to turn the body off. I'm going to turn both of the armatures on. Now, we're going to pretty much do the same thing. We're going to click, control click, make sure this one with the body is the lighter color one, because this is going to be the dominant armature. We're going to come over here, control J. Before we turn the body back on, we're not quite done with this. I'm going to click tab to go into edit mode. Now these little dotted lines are just showing what is parented to what. So this bone is parented to this bone, this bone, this bone, this bone, whatever. So this is the head bone, so the eyes are parented to the head bone, which is exactly how they should be. Now the head bone, as you can see right here, for you it will look like this, but it's called the relations. You go to this tab right here, go to relations, click on the head, and as you're going to see, there's nothing in this. We're going to change that, and we're going to change it to neck. I always connect it. You do not have to, but I do just because I like how it looks. Now mine's tilted, it doesn't matter, it ain't gonna hurt nothing, it's not a big deal. Now we're done with the armature. So let's turn on the body, and let's get out of edit mode, go back to object mode. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna separate the head mesh and the body mesh. If you do choose to have your head and your body as one mesh, make sure you do that at the very, very end of your avatar. So you're going to select the body mesh. You're going to click tab. I'm going to left click and drag over here to deselect all of that so that it looks like this. And then I'm going to come over here to the materials. Now with this, you're disconnecting the head from the body, not the body from the head, right? So we're going to find all the head textures like this. We're going to come down and we're going to hit select. Lashes. You need both of the eyes. And then, of course, the piercings. Select. You're going to right click, go down to separate, selection. We're going to tab back out. And now we've got two separate meshes. Now, if you would like to separate the piercings again, it's the same process. Click on the head mesh, click tab, find. Here, I'm not good at spelling. I don't need to be, it's fine. Piercings, find your piercing material and select it. And then right click, separate, selection. And you can separate it. Same thing with the eyes. If you want to separate the eyes or the lashes or the head or whatever, you can do that. No big deal. But anyway, this is where we're at. Let's make sure the head is moving along with everything else. So what we're going to do is we are going to start pose mode. As you can tell, we have our bones. You can't see the head bone, but you can always turn the head off to select it. Again, I haven't figured out how to make it transparent yet, but as you can see, it moves just fine. It's weighted, it's moving, it's good. Let's check the body armature. Let's make sure the body is moving. The body is moving just fine, and we're not having any issues with that. See? We're good. Now, don't worry about control Zing all the motions you did here. Just click stop pose mode and it'll snap it back into place. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put exclamation marks, put body here, so that it stays at the top when I start adding stuff. This, I'm going to tell you right now, do not label it head. Do not label anything as far as meshes the same name of a bone in your armature. It will fuck your entire day up in Unity and it will stress you out. I did it multiple times. So instead of putting head, I always put face, so I don't have to worry about it. And there you go. You have a good base to start working on. Thank you guys for watching. I hope it was pretty digestible. I've never really made videos before, So hopefully it wasn't too confusing. I will see you guys in the next one as we start adding more things like clothing, hair, all that fun stuff.